Hey, what's up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at two of my custom LEGO minifigures based off of the Obi-Wan Kenobi Star Wars Disney Plus series. Now, as a series, I'd say it's been pretty average for me so far. I'm recording this right before the finale, so maybe my thoughts will change for the better or for the worse. But overall, there's definitely some really good, solid moments in the show. But for me, those moments just feel clouded by character logic that's just, like, flat out stupid. None of the new characters really compelled me that much, but the show's definitely made me appreciate Obi-Wan and Darth Vader so much more than I did before. Now, looking at the figures I made from the show, starting off with Obi-Wan, I made him in his Wanderer outfit, since this was the costume he had on through all of that initial marketing for the show and what I had the most reference images of when I was making this guy. Now, I might go back and make the gray robes that he gets in the second half of the series, since he's been wearing that a lot more frequently, but for now, I'm satisfied with this look. Now, start off, he has a custom lightsaber hilt that I designed in Blender that was then 3D printed by Nate's Minifigs. Now, looking at the main figure, I did do some minimal 3D work, such as the E-tape for his boot wraps, the vinyl for the tunic extension and the belt, and some sculpt work for the bagginess around his collar. Now, the paint work on this guy was pretty straightforward. The pants are just black, the boots are brown with some black detailing on it, and the boot wraps are like an off-white with some weathering. The tunic is tan with some darker tan wrinkles on there, and I made sure to use a Citadel shade paint for a wash to represent his sweat stains around the collar since, I guess it's hot in the desert. The Jedi Robe on this guy started off as a piece of clear vinyl, but then I sculpted on that folded collar and the hood that wraps around at the back. I also sculpted on the sleeves to the arms to make them look a little bit more droopy since those sleeves are massive on those cloaks. Now, the face on this guy started off as one of the Kenobi heads from the Mustafar Dual Lego set, but I essentially erased all of the printing on this head except for the eyes. I then sculpted a very light beard around his chin, and then painted the rest of that beard, and then after that, I painted all of the other facial details on the head. Now, this is actually the second version of this head. The first one I did didn't really look that right to me since I think I went way too heavy with that beard sculpt. The hair on this guy started off as a Jerry Seinfeld hairpiece, but I resculpted the bangs and wanted to keep that mullet, so that hairpiece worked well as a base. Now, since Obi-Wan's hair is pretty much different in like every single scene in the series, here's a painted hair sculpt from Nate's Minifigs that portrays just a different hairstyle that he has. Overall, I'm personally satisfied with this figure, especially after the head updates that I did, but let me know if you guys are interested in seeing him in one of the different outfits that he wears in the show. Now, I've been meaning to make a new Darth Vader for like 5 years, so I'm glad this show finally gave me some proper motivation to do so. Like Obi-Wan, Vader has a custom lightsaber hilt that I designed and that was then 3D printed by Nate's Minifigs. Now, getting that out of the way allows us to take a better look at the figure. So obviously, this guy has lost a little bit of that Lego style or that Lego charm to it since I did have to change the proportions of this guy. I extended the legs, the arms, the torso, and the shoulders to give this figure a bigger frame, since Vader's stature is pretty imposing just in real life, so I wanted to try to translate that onto a figure, so I thought changing up the proportions would do that. After I did that, I sculpted on his shin armor, the robes on his chest, the chest box itself, the pauldron, the shoulder pads, and the gloves, mainly just the glove tops that wrap over the wrists. I painted the whole body black and then went in with some dark gray lines to represent some stitching on the costume. After I finished the paintwork on the legs, I attached the waist cape, which is a piece of vinyl. I then painted it and then attached the belt piece over top of that, which has some styrene boxes on it for his little control boxes there and the little belt buckle piece. After the paintwork was completed on the body, I sprayed this with a Tamiya semi-gloss clear sealant, and then I went in with a glossy brush-applicable varnish in some areas like the pauldron, the shoulders, and the chest box, just to make them look more glossy than the rest of the costume. Now, the cape on this guy is completely sculpted. It's one of my first sculpted capes in a while. It's still an area that I'm trying to improve on here, so the shaping could be better on it for sure, but I am proud of how that chain turned out on the front of it, at the very least. Now, the helmet on this guy is a brand new product from Nate's Minifigs, which just got released to the public, but he sent me an advanced copy of it to promote on this figure. Now, this is a two-piece helmet, similar to Lego's piece, so by popping this off, you can see the painted head underneath that I tried to make resemble Hayden Christensen's likeness. Big thanks to Delta.png for helping with this. Putting the helmet back on, I wanted to touch on the paints that I used for this. I ended up using a Citadel Chaos Black spray paint for the black coat, and then I used some silver paint, just some Runefang steel from Citadel for the nose and the bolts. Now, the eyes were originally black due to that black base coat, but I put one coat of Citadel Blood for the Blood Gods over that, which gave it a very translucent red appearance, and then I put one coat, really light coat of Tamaya Smoke over it to darken it up. I then sprayed the helmet with a clear semi-gloss sealant to get that desired finish, which I think looks really nice. Now, initially, I planned on using this Vader helmet, which was sculpted completely by hand by my friend Sander, and he sold me his entire Vader sculpt last year, full intentions of me just using the helmet on this. Now, I only painted the helmet so far, which I think is a very wildly impressive sculpt. It is also a 3-piece design, which I think is really cool. But now that I have Nate's helmet on this Kenobi version of Vader, I'll be painting up the rest of Sander's Vader sculpt to make it a Return of the Jedi figure and just to pair with that original helmet so I don't have any loose parts floating around. For a size comparison, here is Vader next to Obi-Wan, just to see how big he is compared to a standard minifig, and to just see these two figures together. And then here's also a look at this Vader along with my Vader I made in 2016 for Rogue One, just to see the shift in style and I guess skill that I had back, 6 years ago that I made on this figure. So definitely a change here. Now, these figures are the only two figures I plan to make from this series, since, like I said before, no other characters really appealed to me that much, but I do think I'll make the Attack of the Clones versions of Anakin and Obi-Wan after seeing that sparring scene from Episode 5. This will also help me round out my complete roster for my Skywalker Saga custom figure project. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of these figures down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later.
It's over.